Now that we have the side view drawing completed, we're going to go through and convert the side view into a section view. Now before you do this, or before we do this, I want to recommend that you make and save another copy of this drawing, because we're going to take this side view and essentially destroy it or change it significantly in order to create the section view. So what I've done is I've actually created a homework 9 bearing 1A and a homework 9 bearing 1. And actually the bearing 1A, you can see I've already finished it. But I'm going to now take the homework 9 bearing 1 and take you through the video how we create this and how we turn this into a section view. The first thing we want to do is we need to create our section line. And what the section line is, it tells us what we're actually going to be looking at on the section view. So within our layers, you want to choose the cutting plane. And I said section line, but what I actually meant to say, I should have said, is cutting plane line. And we're going to create a line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the center here, and I'm going to track down 3 inches. 3 inches down, I'm going to start the line, and then I'm going to make a line that's 6 inches long. So that way I get a line that's uniform, and it extends the same amount on both sides. We then need to take a leader and extend it out on this side. But in order to do that, we need to properly first set up the leader. So what you want to do is to click on leader, come into your drawing space, and then right click, go to options, and then under leader anding, choose no. Under leader type, make sure it says straight. And then you can exit options. So at that point you can come down here, choose an end, take an end point, either the top or the bottom first, and then pull your leader out. In this case I've gone about 2 inches. Hit return. Now, I don't know exactly how it's going to come out on your setup. On mine, somewhere in there's an arrow. We can't actually see it. So we need to do something about that. So let's change it. Let's click on the leader. And then we look into quick properties. And we don't have anything for the arrow size on quick properties. So let's look into properties itself. And under leaders, we can see arrowhead size 0.180. So let's change the arrowhead size here from 0.18 to, let's start with 0.35 and see what that looks like. .35 is pretty good. So we'll leave it as 0.35. Now we can go ahead and do the same thing and make the leader for the top. Alternatively, what we can do is we can just copy this one and move it up. So I'm going to click on this one, and then I'm going to right click, copy selection. I'm going to choose the end point, and then just move it up to the top, hit return, and then I'm done. So now I have my cutting plane view. And what this is saying when I'm going to look at this edge, when I look at this drawing, I'm looking at it when with the cut, this is the side that remains. So it's as if these arrows are my eyes looking in. So it's kind of as if you put these arrows out here and you're looking in that way. Okay, so next thing we want to do, we need to make some modifications over here. So let's drop this properties if you still have it open. Come over here, select everything. After you select everything, right click your mouse, choose quick select. Under properties, choose layer, and then under value, choose hidden, and then click OK. And that quick select allows you to quickly select out of a large number of selections only a given selection. What I've done is I've selected all the hidden layers. Why did I select all the hidden layers? Because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually turn the hidden layers and put them on the object layer. So once they're selected, go up to your layer and change the layer from hidden to object. And what we have now is everything on the object layer. Now while we're here, there's one thing I want to bring up, and that's the line weight. When we set up this layer properties, if you remember, we had some different line weights that it had us add in. And these line weights can actually be turned on or off. And I'm going to go ahead and turn them off, or show you how to turn them on and off. If you followed in the book, I think they actually have you do this a couple of times, but I've skipped over this for the time being. Right here, you see this little box with the lines that are thicker on one side, thinner on the other. This is your line weight display, and you can actually turn this on and off. If you turn this off, your line weights get thin. If you turn it on, your line weights go to whatever they're actually set to. If you don't see this box, you can come over here to the three lines, the customization, and then you can actually make sure that it's turned on. So over here you see line weight. So if I turn this off, it'll disappear from there. If I turn it on, it'll show up. So you can turn that on and off. I'm going to leave it on for you guys, partially because it may be a little bit easier to see with the thicker line weights. But I just wanted to point that out. And maybe at the end I'll actually turn it off. Okay, so once we've done that, the next thing we need to do is we need to delete the lines that we put here that were related to the section relief on the edge relief, where we go from the base of this bearing to where it starts rising up. And the reason we delete this is because if we're looking on the inside, well, then we're not going to see this at all. So once we do the cutaway, we won't see it all. So what we're going to do is we select those two, and we just hit delete. At this point, we're ready to go ahead and complete the section view. So all we have to do is we come up here and we click on hatch. And again, I'm going to do that one more time. Right here's the hatch menu. Click on hatch, and that opens up this hatch setup. I'm going to choose this ANSI 31. And then once I do that, all I have to do is click on the areas that I want to have hatched. Now the areas that I want to have hatched, a hatched area is an area that when you make this cutting line, the hatch area will be physically on the edge of the line. So for instance, it will be here, and it will be there, and it will be here, and it will be there. It will not be in here. It will not be in here because we're going, this area will not touch the cutting line because there'll be a hole. There's a hole here. There's a hole here. You could hatch this. It would be wrong, but you could. Anyway, that completes the hatch. And that completes this drawing, except for the dimensioning. Now, I am not going to give you the dimensioning on this drawing. I'm going to ask you to go through and complete the dimensioning yourself. There aren't a whole lot of dimensions, and I think we've gone through enough dimensioning that you should be able to get this done on your own. The one thing I will talk about, though, is the setup. And as far as the setup goes, this dimensioning is set up for fractional. So for fractional dimensioning, you can go into annotation, choose mechanical, modify, in primary units. I mean, you may already be set up for fractional. Your precision, it looks like we're in eighths. Your fractional format is horizontal. And that is likely all that you need to do. I will give you help for the counter bore because I'm not sure what symbols, if all those counter symbols are easily and readily available. So let's choose OK. Let's close that. And let's put in a leader here. And at this point, I am going to turn off my line weights. I'm going to add a leader for my dimensions. And right now I'm going to turn off all object snapping so I can place my leader anywhere. Snap to reference points is off. And these leaders are now backwards, so we need to correct those. We're going to go into leader, come back here, options, leader anding, yes, and options, whoop, leader, options, leader type straight, should be good. I think that'll be okay. No, but we still have the leader going in the other direction. Leader arrowhead first. I'm not sure that's correct. Leader landing first. Leader arrowhead first. Okay. That way. So actually the leader was backwards. So we actually start the leader here and then bring it up to that point. So now we're going to go into, we're at the text. So you want symbol. So you want diameter. 3/8. And then see if we have counter bore. Got to bring up the character map. And I don't see the counter bore. I don't recall if they gave the counter bore in the book. But I've often done the following for counter bore, and I think you saw this on the 10391 drawing, where what we did is we would do this, diameter 3/8, counter bore, counter bore diameter 5/8, one-eighth depth. So that's a perfectly fine specification. And I just put that in on the cutting plane, so I need to change that to dimension. And I'm going to move that down just a bit so it's out of the way from everything else. Okay, so that's how you can specify the counter bore. And I'm sure if you look hard enough, you can actually find those symbols. I should point out, they talk about those symbols, I believe, in chapter 8 or 9. We don't cover that material because this is a basic AutoCAD course, and we are teaching both architectural and mechanical students, and dimension callouts like that tend to be more mechanical. So we don't get into the we get into the basics of those, but we don't get into the actual details. Okay, so that's it for this drawing. Please go ahead and finish it and then turn it in. Thank you very much.